First Contact Protocol. The Starship Nexus glided through the cosmic void like a silver needle threading through black velvet. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the tactical display that suddenly erupted with warning signals. 3 massive alien vessels materialized from hyperspace, their crystalline hulls refracting starlight into prismatic patterns that danced across the viewscreen. Contact. Lieutenant James Rodriguez called out from the sensor station. 3 unknown vessels. Configuration matches nothing in our database. They're powering weapons. Sarah's heart rate remained steady. Years of training had prepared her for this moment. Maintain position. Open all communication channels. Begin broadcasting our standard first contact greeting on all frequencies. The alien ships, each easily twice the size of the Nexus, arranged themselves in an attack formation. Their weapon ports glowed with an ominous purple energy. On the bridge, the tension was palpable, but Sarah noticed something different about her crew. There was no panic, no rush to battle stations. They were following protocol, trusting in humanity's new approach to galactic relations. Commander, the lead vessel is responding, Rodriguez reported, surprise evident in his voice. They're confused. Their transmission indicates they expected us to either flee or attack. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Visual contact, if possible. The main screen flickered, revealing a being that defied human understanding. High Commander Vexthor of the Zelthani Empire appeared as a shimmering mass of crystalline structures, constantly shifting and reforming. Multiple sensory appendages extended from its central mass, each ending in what appeared to be a different type of optical organ. Human vessel, the translated voice resonated through the bridge speakers. Your response is irregular. You do not flee. You do not attack. What is your purpose? Sarah stepped forward, her posture relaxed but authoritative. High Commander, I am Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Nexus. We come in peace, seeking knowledge and friendship. We request formal diplomatic dialogue. The crystalline being's form pulsed with what the computer interpreted as confusion. Diplomatic dialogue. The concept seemed foreign to Vexthor. In 17 cycles of expansion, no species has ever requested dialogue. They attack or submit. You do neither. That's correct, Sarah replied calmly. Humanity has learned that violence is rarely the optimal solution. We believe that through communication and mutual understanding, we can find beneficial outcomes for all parties involved. The bridge crew watched as Vexthor's form shifted rapidly, consulting with unseen advisors. The weapon ports on the alien vessels remained active, but Sarah noticed they hadn't increased power levels. It was a small sign, but encouraging. Your words are unprecedented, Vexthor finally responded. The Zelthani have conquered 17 star systems through superior force. We have never encountered a species that chooses words over weapons when faced with our might. Sarah nodded thoughtfully. And in those 17 conquests, how many resources were lost to conflict? How many potential allies became eternal enemies? How much knowledge was destroyed that could have benefited your empire? The question seemed to strike a chord with the alien commander. The crystalline form dimmed slightly, processing this new perspective. You speak of efficiency, Vexthor observed, of maximizing gain while minimizing loss. Exactly, Sarah confirmed. Humanity has a saying, the best victory is the one achieved without fighting. We've learned through our own violent history that cooperation often yields far greater rewards than conquest. Lieutenant Rodriguez whispered to Sarah, Commander, their weapons are powering down. Indeed, the purple glow from the alien ships was fading. Vexthor's form had stabilized into a more coherent pattern, suggesting a decision had been made. Commander Chen, the alien's voice carried a new tone, one of curiosity rather than aggression. The Zelthani will consider your proposal for dialogue. This is unusual for us. We require time to adjust our protocols. Of course, Sarah replied warmly. We're prepared to wait as long as necessary. In the meantime, perhaps we could exchange basic cultural information. It would help both our peoples understand each other better. The next several hours saw an unprecedented exchange between the two species. The Zelthani, accustomed to immediate violence or surrender, found themselves navigating entirely new territory. They learned about human art, music, and philosophy. In return, they shared glimpses of their crystalline cities and energy-based civilization. Dr. Amelia Patel, the ship's xenoanthropologist, worked tirelessly to bridge the cultural gap. "They're fascinating," she reported to Sarah during a brief break. "Their entire society is based on harmonic resonance. Conflict disrupts their natural frequencies, which explains their aggressive expansion. They've been trying to create a quiet zone around their space, so they attack to prevent future attacks." Sarah mused. "A self-fulfilling prophecy." "Exactly. But they're beginning to see that our approach might offer a better solution." As the dialogue continued, something remarkable happened. The Zelthani ships, initially positioned for attack, gradually moved into a more neutral formation. Their crews, monitoring the exchange, began to show signs of genuine interest rather than suspicion. Vexthor himself seemed transformed by the process. "Commander Chen," he said during one exchange, "your species possesses a wisdom we had not considered. You seek to understand before you act. This is efficient." "It's more than efficiency," Sarah explained. "It's about building something lasting. Conquest creates subjects. Negotiation creates partners." The breakthrough came when Sarah proposed a joint scientific mission. "Your harmonic technology could revolutionize our understanding of quantum fields," she suggested, "and our biological sciences might help you solve the cellular degradation issues you mentioned." Vexthor's form brightened noticeably. "A partnership. Mutual benefit without subjugation." "Exactly. We call it win-win negotiation. Both sides gain, neither loses." As the first day of contact drew to a close, the impossible had happened. Two species, one bent on conquest, the other on exploration, had found common ground. The Zelthani weapons remained powered down, and plans for a formal diplomatic meeting were underway. Sarah stood on the observation deck, watching the alien ships. They no longer seemed threatening, just different. Rodriguez joined her, shaking his head in amazement. "You know, Commander, when I signed up for deep space exploration, I expected battles, not negotiations." Sarah smiled. "That's what makes us human, James. We can choose a better way. And sometimes, that choice changes everything." As the stars wheeled slowly overhead, two civilizations stood at the threshold of a new era. The galaxy would never be the same. The Bridge of Understanding. The holographic conference room materialized around Ambassador Marcus Reeves as he connected from Earth. His image flickered briefly before stabilizing, showing a tall man with silver-streaked hair and kind eyes that had seen countless negotiations. Sarah stood beside him on the Nexus, while across the virtual table, Vexthor and his advisors arranged themselves in geometric patterns that the translation matrix identified as formal positioning. "High Commander Vexthor," Marcus began, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's hopes, "I'm honored to join these discussions. Commander Chen has briefed me on your productive initial dialogue." Vexthor's crystalline form shifted, creating patterns that the computer interpreted as respectful acknowledgement. "Ambassador Reeves, your presence adds gravity to these proceedings. We have consulted our archives of conquest and found no precedent for what transpires here." "Then we make history together," Marcus smiled. "But first, I believe understanding your perspective is crucial. Would you share with us the Zelthani journey? What led your people to choose expansion through force?" The question seemed to resonate deeply within Vexthor's form. The other Zelthani advisors created a harmonic hum that filled the virtual space. After a moment, Vexthor began to pulse with a softer light. "Our history is written in frequency and resonance," he explained. "The Zelthani emerged from the crystal nebula, where cosmic harmonics shaped our evolution. We are beings of pure vibration, given form through crystalline matrices. For millennia, we existed in perfect harmony. The holographic display shifted, showing images of breathtaking crystal cities floating in space, each structure vibrating in perfect synchronization with others. The beauty was undeniable, but there was something fragile about it too. Then came the discord. Vexthor continued, his form darkening. Other species discovered our realm. Their chaotic frequencies disrupted our harmony. Entire cities shattered. Millions of Zelthani lost coherence, dissolving into base frequencies. We learned that the galaxy was hostile, that peace could only be maintained through dominance. Sarah leaned forward, her expression sympathetic. You were traumatized as a species. Your expansion wasn't about conquest for power, but about creating a buffer zone, a safe space where your harmony could exist undisturbed. Precisely, Vexthor confirmed. Each system we conquered, we tuned to our frequency. Each species we dominated, we forced to adopt harmonic patterns. It was survival. Marcus nodded thoughtfully. And yet, this approach created the very chaos you sought to escape. Each conquered species became a potential source of discord, requiring constant suppression. The paradox had not escaped our notice, Vexthor admitted, but we saw no alternative. Until now. Marcus gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show Earth's history. Humanity has walked a similar path. Our history is filled with conflicts born from fear, misunderstanding, and the desire for security. Images flowed past. World wars, nuclear standoffs, environmental crisis. But we learned, slowly and painfully, that sustainable peace comes not from domination, but from integration. The display transformed again, showing moments of human cooperation. The International Space Station, global disease eradication efforts, collaborative scientific achievements. We discovered that diversity, rather than being a source of discord, could become a symphony of possibilities. Vexthor's form brightened with interest. A symphony. You use harmonic metaphors. Please elaborate. Dr. Paddle joined the conversation. In human music, different instruments play different notes, rhythms, and melodies. Individually, they might sound chaotic, but when coordinated with understanding and respect for each unique contribution, they create something greater than the sum of their parts. To demonstrate, she played a recording of a human orchestra. The Zelthani forms visibly reacted to the music, their crystalline structures aligning with the harmonies. As the piece reached its crescendo, something unprecedented happened. The Zelthani began generating complementary frequencies, adding their own voice to the music. The moment was magical. Two species, separated by biology and culture, found unity in shared harmony. When the music ended, silence reigned for several moments. Vexthor's voice carried wonder. This is what you propose for galactic civilization. Not forced harmony, but collaborative symphony. Exactly, Marcus confirmed. Each species maintaining its unique frequency while contributing to a greater cosmic harmony. The discussion continued for hours, delving into practical applications. How could the Zelthani's harmonic technology be used for peaceful purposes? How could humanity's diplomatic frameworks accommodate beings of pure frequency? Then, suddenly, crisis struck. One of the Zelthani advisors, a being called Crixmal, began emitting discordant frequencies. The universal translator struggled, then produced deception. The humans speak of peace while their deepest frequencies reveal preparation for war. The virtual conference room erupted in chaos. Zelthani forms destabilized, their harmonics clashing. On the Nexus bridge, alarms sounded as the alien ships powered their weapons again. Wait, Sarah shouted above the noise. There's been a misunderstanding. Marcus remained calm, his years of experience evident. High Commander, please, let us examine what Crixmal has detected. It emerged that Crixmal had interpreted humanity's natural electromagnetic emissions, heartbeats, neural activity, technological signatures, as hidden aggressive intent. The Zelthani, being creatures of pure frequency, could detect these emanations but had misunderstood their meaning. Dr. Patel quickly formulated an explanation. These frequencies you detect are not preparations for war, but signs of life itself. Human bodies generate electromagnetic fields through biological processes. Our technology produces various frequencies as byproducts of operation, not as weapons. To prove the point, she had the medical team conduct live scans, showing how human vital signs created the frequencies that Krixmall had detected. The demonstration was accompanied by explanations of human biology, turning a potential conflict into an impromptu science lesson. Gradually, understanding dawned among the Zelthani. Krixmall's form shifted to express what the translator interpreted as profound embarrassment. I have misunderstood. Your frequencies are not weapons, but expressions of your nature. As our crystalline structures naturally resonate, your biological forms naturally emit. Exactly, Sarah smiled. This is why communication is so important. Without dialogue, misunderstandings like this could lead to unnecessary conflict. Vexthor's form pulsed thoughtfully. This incident, it demonstrates the wisdom of your approach. Had we followed our traditional patterns, we would have attacked at the first sign of perceived threat. Instead, through dialogue, we have gained understanding. The crisis had become an opportunity. Both sides now truly grasped the importance of clear communication and cultural exchange. The Zelthani powered down their weapons once more, this time with what seemed like relief. Ambassador Reeves, Vexthor spoke with new conviction. The Zelthani formally request to learn your methods of negotiation and peaceful coexistence. We see now that our path of conquest has been inefficient. Marcus smiled warmly. We would be honored to share our knowledge and equally honored to learn from you. Perhaps we could establish a joint academy where both our peoples could study diplomacy and cultural exchange. The proposal was met with enthusiastic harmonic patterns from the Zelthani delegation. As the discussion turned to practical details, Sarah noticed something remarkable. The Zelthani ships had moved even closer to the Nexus, their formations now expressing trust rather than tactical positioning. The foundation for a new type of interstellar relationship was being laid, brick by brick, word by word. Two species that should have been enemies were becoming partners in a grand experiment of peaceful coexistence, a new galactic order. News of the unprecedented peaceful contact between humans and Zelthani spread through the galaxy like ripples in a cosmic pond. Species that had long viewed the Zelthani as unstoppable conquerors watched in astonishment as their vessels began visiting systems not to subjugate, but to invite participation in something called the Galactic Harmony Initiative. 3 months after first contact, the neutral world of Nexus Prime hosted a gathering that would reshape galactic politics. Representatives from 27 civilizations converged on the planet, drawn by curiosity about humanity's diplomatic miracle. Sarah Chen and Marcus Reeves stood alongside Vexthor in the Grand Assembly Hall, its architecture a blend of human aesthetics and Zelthani crystalline design. The assembled delegates represented a stunning diversity of life: gaseous beings from the nebula consortiums, silicon-based lithoids from the core worlds, energy creatures from the plasma reaches, and dozens of other forms that defied easy classification. Esteemed beings of the galaxy, Marcus addressed the assembly, his words translated into countless languages and sensory modes. We gather today not to forge another military alliance or trade confederation, but to explore a new paradigm of interstellar relations. A ripple of skepticism passed through the crowd. The warrior queens of Theraxis bristled their ceremonial spines. The hive mind collective of Zenturi hummed with doubt. These beings had known only conflict and uneasy truces. Vexthor stepped forward, his crystalline form radiating confidence. The Zelthani stand as proof that change is possible. We who once sought dominance through force now seek harmony through understanding. Observe. The chamber filled with holographic displays showing the transformation of Zelthani society. Where once their fleets had enforced silence, now they facilitated communication. Former military installations had become centers for cultural exchange. Most remarkably, the systems previously under Zalthani control were experiencing unprecedented prosperity. A gelatinous delegate from the Viscous Alliance quivered forward. "You speak of peace and prosperity, but the galaxy is not naive. What prevents the strong from exploiting the weak in this new order?" Sarah stepped into the discussion. "An excellent question. Traditional power structures rely on force as the ultimate arbiter. We propose something different. Mutual benefit enforcement through collective interest." She activated a complex holographic model. "Imagine each civilization as a node in a network. In traditional systems, power flows from the strongest nodes, creating dependency and resentment. Our model creates interconnections where each node both gives and receives, making the network stronger as a whole." The demonstration showed how collaborative research initiatives could advance technology faster than isolated development, how shared defense networks could provide security more efficiently than massive individual militaries, how cultural exchange could enrich all participants without diminishing any. The merchant princes of Vega listened intently as Marcus explained the economic benefits. "Consider the resources wasted on arms races and territorial disputes. In our model, those resources fuel innovation, exploration, and improved quality of life for all species." "Pretty words," growled Admiral Krax of the Draconian Empire. "But what happens when someone breaks these rules? When a species decides conquest is easier than cooperation?" Vexthor's response surprised everyone. Then they face not just military opposition, but complete isolation from the benefits of the network. The Zalthani have calculated the outcomes. Cooperation yields exponentially greater returns than conquest. To demonstrate, the Zalthani shared their own economic data from the past 3 months. Their energy expenditure had dropped by 60% since ending military expansion. Scientific advancement had accelerated by 200% through collaboration with humans. Most tellingly, civil harmony within Zalthani space had reached levels not seen since before the Discord. The assembly buzzed with discussion. Species that had been enemies for centuries found themselves considering cooperation. The paradigm was shifting before their eyes. Over the next several days, working groups formed to address specific challenges. The diplomatic corps, led by humans and Zalthani, developed protocols for peaceful first contact. The science consortium established frameworks for sharing research, while respecting each species' unique contributions. The cultural exchange network created guidelines for interspecies understanding. The breakthrough moment came when the warrior queens of Thoraxis, known for their aggressive expansion, proposed a radical idea. "If we redirect our warrior traditions from conquest to protection of the weak, we maintain our honor while serving the greater harmony." This sparked a cascade of similar proposals. The Hive Mind Collective offered to coordinate galactic communication networks. The Plasma Reaches volunteered to establish energy distribution systems. Each species found ways to contribute their strengths to the collective good. By the summit's end, the United Galactic Council had taken shape, not as a governing body imposing rules from above, but as a forum for collaborative problem-solving and mutual support. The charter they signed was simple yet revolutionary. "We, the diverse peoples of the galaxy, choose cooperation over conflict, understanding over ignorance, and harmony over discord." The implementation wasn't without challenges. Some species struggled to overcome millennia of mistrust. Border disputes needed careful negotiation. Cultural misunderstandings occasionally threatened progress. But with each challenge overcome, the network grew stronger. A year after first contact, the galaxy had transformed. Where once war fleets patrolled disputed territories, now joint research stations fostered collaboration. Trade routes that had been battlegrounds became highways of cultural exchange. Species that had never communicated directly found themselves working together on projects of mutual benefit. Sarah stood on the observation deck of the Nexus, now permanently stationed at Nexus Prime as humanity's embassy to the stars. Vexthor joined her, his crystalline form humming with contentment. "You know," Sarah mused, "when we first encountered your ships, I never imagined this outcome." "Nor did we," Vexthor replied. "The Zelthani archives now classify our first contact with humanity as the Great Awakening. You showed us that strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to build." Below them, ships from a dozen species moved in harmonious patterns, their former weapons arrays now converted to communication systems and scientific instruments. The galaxy hadn't become perfect. Conflicts still arose, disagreements still needed resolution. But now, there was a framework for addressing these challenges without resorting to violence. "What's next?" Vexthor asked. Sarah smiled, looking out at the stars. "The universe is vast, and we've only begun to explore it. Imagine what we might achieve together, not as conquerors or competitors, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all." As if in response, a new ship appeared on the edge of the system. Its design was unlike anything in the known galaxy, suggesting another first contact opportunity. The assembled fleets moved into welcoming formation, broadcasting messages of peace in all known languages. The age of isolation and conflict was ending. The age of galactic harmony had begun, and somewhere in the depths of space, other civilizations would soon hear the message that had transformed the known galaxy. Sometimes, the bravest choice is to lower your weapons and extend your hand in friendship. Humanity had given the galaxy its greatest gift, the knowledge that there was always another way, a better way, if only one had the courage to seek it. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, reflecting the hope of a united galaxy reaching toward a future limited only by imagination and the willingness to understand one another.